Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Transylvania County. I'm Janice Cannon. I'm your worship associate for today. If this is your first time here or your 100th time here, we welcome you to our active, loving congregation. We are grateful you are here because the presence of each of you enriches us all. For those visiting today, we want you to know we are an inclusive congregation who welcome people from all walks of life and invite you to share our service with us and get to know us better in the coffee hour following the service. I have a few announcements. Today, Wonderful Wednesday is this coming Wednesday. Rashara Fensel, Library Director, is coming to speak about the role of the public library in 21st century communities with an emphasis on Transylvania County. Dinner will be at 5:30, program at 6:30, and today is the last day to register for the dinner so they can prepare an appropriate amount of food.
Sign up on the front counter.
Thank you, RK. We have one more week before Adulting 101 camp. Sign up a teen on the front counter, RK, to learn some of the important skills of life. It'll be July 15th through 19th from 10 to 3 p.m. here at the church. Right now we'll have Joanna Bliss come up and talk about the Dignity Project.
Good morning. I'm Joanna Bliss, and it is my privilege to serve as coordinator for UUTC's own Dignity Project. Facing the world with dignity includes being able to feel good about yourself as you interact with others. Think about what that might look like for you if you were looking for a job or housing. You would want to be bathed, perhaps shaved, with clean hair and teeth. You would want your baby or toddler to be wearing a clean diaper. Now imagine that you are one of the many people in this county who live with poverty. What would you have to give up to have the products that would allow you to face the world with dignity? The UUTC Dignity Project was envisioned as a way to affirm the worth and dignity of others by assisting with personal hygiene items for adults and children. It is a tangible manifestation of our first principle. The items we provide are razors and shaving cream, deodorant, soap and shampoo, toothpaste and toothbrushes, and nail clippers, diapers and wipes. These items are not eligible for purchase through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as SNAP. Yet they are items needed every day, and their purchase means giving up something else just as important. We partner with the Bread of Life, the Children's Center, El Centro, the Haven, Rise and Shine, Safe, and Sharing House to meet needs identified by these agencies and distribute these products to the organizations to pass on to our neighbors in need. The Dignity Project is funded by an annual congregation-wide collection, plus some individual monthly contributions. July is the month for that annual collection. Please use the envelopes in the collection basket to donate to this, our very own community outreach project. And if you would like to make an ongoing monthly contribution, please contact the office to set that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. We'll now have Carol Flake come and introduce our guest speaker today.
Well, all of you know Vanessa Cowie anyway, because she's been our worship team leader for 3 years. Vanessa joined our congregation in 2019 after moving to Western North Carolina, even though she's been a Unitarian Universalist since 1993. She has edited an agricultural magazine. That's where I think she met her husband, Ian. And she retired as a public librarian. She enjoys discussing books and participating in community theater. And she loves to play in her unkempt garden with her grandchildren. She participated in our recent shared pulpit seminar that was brought to us. Reverend Bob and RK suggested that we start this shared pulpit ministry, and Vanessa is our most recent graduate. If you approve her sermon today, okay? So please do. Do you all know who the president of our organization is? Sophia Betancourt. She has really encouraged us to share our stories with each other, because it really does help in building community. Well, see, everybody has a spiritual journey. Everybody has a spiritual story. So when we started meeting, the shared pulpit group started meeting back in March. We've been working on these sermons since March. I said, okay, everybody has a spiritual journey, whether you know it or not. And you need to think about, what place are you on your spiritual journey? What type of spiritual journey are you on? And who are your allies? Well, I don't even know. I don't think I'll tell you what Vanessa's were. The first place that came up for her was an orchard, and that's all I will reveal. She will tell you the rest.
Moving into our joys and sorrows, I will light a candle of joy. For Ben Potter's birthday, 84th birthday today. This is from Nancy. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ben. Happy birthday to you. I will also light a candle for those who have not expressed a joy or a sorrow, and for those at home who are watching us today. Please remain seated and greet each other this morning. Our opening words today are a responsive reading. The words will be on your screen. It's called To Worship. To worship is to stand in awe under a heaven of stars, before a flower, a leaf in sunlight, or a grain of sand. To worship is to be silent, receptive before a tree astir with the wind, or the passing shadow of a cloud. To worship is to work with dedication and with skill. It is to pause from work and listen to a strain of music. To worship is to sing with the singing beauty of the earth. It is to listen through a storm to the still small voice within. To worship is a loneliness seeking communion. It is a thirsty land crying out for rain. Worship is a kindred fire within our hearts. It moves through deeds of kindness and through acts of love. Worship is the mystery within us, reaching out to the mystery beyond. It is inarticulate silence, yearning to speak. It is the window of the moment, open to the sky of the eternal. Our first hymn today is Mother Earth, Beloved Garden, and the words will be on your screen. Oh, you guys have the books. It's 1067. The chalice lighting this morning is from the UU hymnal number 434. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. Kevin will now bring us our wisdom for all ages.
Good morning. The story for today is called The Umbrella Sanctuary. It's from the UU Worship Web, but it is unauthored. So here we go. And as we go through the story, this is going to be participational. So I'll need y'all to say boom loud whenever I say boom. So let's try that. Boom. Boom. I thought we'd have to practice. That's really good. And then also, when we hear the word sanctuary, we're going to say sanctuary very quiet. So sanctuary, sanctuary. Oh, very peaceful. Well, once there was a little girl who was walking down the streets of a town. It might have been our town. It might have been, I don't know, last Thursday or a month ago or something. And she was walking along, and she was going to go meet her family at a store. Well, right above her, all of a sudden, it started to rain really hard, and there was a big boom of thunder. Great. She didn't know what to do, so she ran into the nearest store, and it might have been the store called Gravy, or it might have been Local Color, or something like that. And she ran inside to get a little respite from the rain. And she was looking around at the store and all the neat stuff on the shelves and hanging around, when a woman came out who's the shopkeeper and said, "Can I help you?" And the little girl turned and looked at her, and she looked different than what the little girl was normally used to. You see, she had skin much darker than the little girl's. She had long gray and black braids running down her back, and her face was lined with all the days that she had lived. And the little girl was, to be honest, a little scared and didn't know quite what to do. And so the little girl just pointed outside, and the shopkeeper went, "Ah, you came in to find a little bit of sanctuary in our store here. Well, don't worry, we've got a good solid roof over our heads. It'll keep us warm and dry." "Well, can I help you find anything?" And the shopkeeper could tell the little girl was hesitating because she didn't really know what to do. And finally, the little girl kind of just said, outside and down the street, "Oh, you need to go meet somebody?" And the little girl shook her head. She said, "Okay, well, I can help you with that, I think. Now, I can't stop the rain, but I can offer you a little portable sanctuary." And the little girl smiled at this, but then she said, "But I don't have any money." And the shopkeeper said, "No worries, just take this umbrella and use it. And when you have a chance, offer it to somebody else that needs it." So the little girl said, "Thank you very much," went outside, opened the umbrella, which is, by the way, from our Lost and Found. So if you notice it's yours, come get it later. And she opened the umbrella and went skipping down the street. Well, on her way down the street to go meet her parents, she saw somebody else who was running down the street. It was a man in a suit, trying to keep dry, holding a newspaper over his head. And if you're too young to know what a newspaper is, it's a bunch of papers that are kind of cheap, that are printed every day or every week around here and folded together. And he was trying to stay dry because he was having a rough day. You see, he really needed an umbrella because he was wearing a suit because he was on his way to a job interview. He hasn't had a job in a long time, and he was desperate. And he was really wondering what type of impression he would make when he showed up just completely drenched. And the little girl saw him and said, "Ah." So she skipped up to him, raised the umbrella as high as she could, and said, "I'm sorry I can't stop the rain, but you can find some sanctuary under my umbrella." And he said, "Thank you very much." So they walked a little ways. Then the girl saw where her family she was going to meet was in another store. She said, "Okay, here, you take the umbrella." He said, "I can't take the umbrella." All of a sudden, there's another big thunder, boom. Boom. And he said, "Well, maybe I can take the umbrella." And the little girl said, "Just take it, and when you have a chance to offer it to somebody else, then give it to them too." Well, Well, the man took the umbrella, the girl skipped along and met her family, and he walked on to his job interview. Well, the good news is he got that job, and he was soon able to make some money and save a little money so that he started buying a few extra umbrellas. And whenever he went out, he started giving little umbrellas out to other people so they could use them. And he always told them, take this, it's free, but when you have a chance, offer it to somebody else. And you can always say to them, I'm sorry, I can't stop the rain, but you can take this little portable sanctuary with you. And of course, the moral of this story is we oftentimes can't stop the rain that's happening in life, whether it's the wars going on in the world or the struggles people are having, their money problems, or maybe they're having some type of heart and emotional struggle with somebody in their family. But we can offer our lives, this place, this very sanctuary, to give them a place of rest. So thank y'all.
Thank you, Kevin. At this time, we will prepare for the offering. We ask your generosity in our offering today as an investment of hope and love for our church and our community. We give to support integrity, justice, diversity, and help to those who are in need. You may go online to donate or contribute in the baskets that will be passed. Our community giving this month will go to the Dignity Project, as you heard from Joanna earlier. It will be, you can put the donation for the Dignity Project in the envelope that's in the basket. May we give with joy from our hearts. Your generosity is appreciated and treasured. Thank you so much. We'll move into our reflection and meditation. Spirit of love and light, we express our profound gratitude for the earth and every living plant, animal, and insect that sustains our lives. May our gratitude be expressed by hands-on support for Mother Earth and our caring connections with each other. Today we hold in our hearts a joy for Ben Potter's birthday. We celebrate with you, Ben, and our hearts also go out to others whose joys or sorrows may be unspoken. Spirit of love and light, allow your light to shine through us with love and compassion for all, and so may it be. We will now have a few moments of silence.
Good morning. Thank you, John. I'm on. As many of you know, James and I come from St. Petersburg, where we spend 8 months of the year vacationing, and because this is really our home. And we started a chorus down there, and one of our singers emailed me last summer and said, I've written a draft of a song about the Statue of Liberty and immigration, and would you like to see it? And so I said yes, and now you're going to hear it.
Set sail across these waters over a wide and open sea, with my wife and my son and my daughters, to this land of opportunity. Disembarking at Ellis Island, feelings of pride came over me, as the veil of the mist that shrouded her lifted her up, I could clearly see. Standing tall, she lifted my heart, revealing all I'd come to be. She holds the light for my rights, for my life, for my child, for my land. She stands for me. She stands for me. Lady Liberty lifted me up. She stands for me. She stands for me. Lady Liberty lifted me up. She stands for me. 200 years we now flash forward at the dawn of this brave new world. As I stand with my eyes gazing upward, she still stands with the light in her hand. It still shines as bright as it can be for those still longing to breathe free. Though by the waves we are tossed as we weather the storms, she still shows us who we can be. Standing tall, she lifted my heart, showing all we'd come to be. Stands for the lonely and lost, and those tempests tossed, she still stands. She stands for me. She stands for me. Lady Liberty lifted me up. She stands for me. She stands for me. Lady Liberty lifted me up. She stands for me. We are the farmers standing by our plow. We're small business owners who are making it now. Lady Liberty, lift me up. She stands for me. I am the dreamer through no fault of mine, but still wanting a life and a future that's bright. Lady Liberty, lift me up. She stands for me. We are the couple, bless my eyes above, but stripped of our rights because of who we love. Lady Liberty, lift me up. She stands for me. We are the tired, the oppressed, and the poor, the huddled masses at the golden door. Lady Liberty, lift me up. She stands for me. We are a people of all colors and creeds. Together we're strong in our diversity. Lady Liberty, lift me up. She stands for me. She stands for me. She stands for me. Lady Liberty, lift me up. She stands for me. She stands for me. Lady Liberty, lift me up. She stands for me.
Thank you for that music. John Arterton, James Mack, our soloist, John Austin, and the choir. And thank you, Lady Liberty, for lifting up untold numbers of immigrants' lives from all over the world. I'm going to be talking about immigrants today that have contributed to this beautiful, wonderful country that I love too. Honeybees are not native to North America. In Sue Monk Kidd's novel, The Secret Life of Bees, teenager Lily flees a barren home with a neglectful father and shelters with 3 African-American sisters. The beekeeping sister, August, introduces Lily to the hive. After Friday prayers were finished and the orange and pink swirls still hung in the sky from sunset, I went with August to the bee yard. I hadn't been out to the hives before, so to start off, she gave me a lesson in what she called bee yard etiquette. She reminded me that the world was really one big bee yard, and the same rules worked fine in both places. Don't be afraid, as no life-loving bee wants to sting you. Still, don't be an idiot. Wear long pants and long sleeves. Don't swat. Don't even think about swatting. If you feel angry, whistle. Anger agitates. Whistling melts a bee's temper. Above all, send the bees love. Every little thing wants to be loved. So that's our reading. And let me thank a couple more people. I just want to thank all the people who were with me in shared pulpit program, especially Carol Flake, our leader, and all of you who have supported worship over the past 3 years when I've been the worship team leader, and especially Janice, our new worship team leader. My journey to this beloved Unitarian Universalist community started with love and honey. You could say it started in an orchard. I was reading Emily Dickinson to my 3-month-old firstborn, rocking her, waiting for her to go to sleep so I could get supper and maybe even get a nap in myself. This child added a new relationship to the complicated tapestry of my life. I was reading poetry I hadn't had time for when I was working. I'd supposed books and poetry would fill the many idle hours I would have as a part-time working at home mom. I read, "Some keep the Sabbath going to church. I keep it staying at home, with a bobolink for a chorister and an orchard for a dome. Some keep the Sabbath in surplice. I just wear my wings. And instead of tolling the bell for church, our little chorister sings. God preaches, a noted clergyman. And the sermons are never long. So instead of getting to heaven at last, I'm going all along. In the moment, it didn't feel like I was going to heaven. The June sun made a toaster of our cinder block house with its corrugated metal roof. The dog was stretched out, panting on the cement floor, the better to maximize contact with its relative coolness. But this Sabbath poem took me to a different place. As I rocked little Tasha, I thought of honeybees. There aren't any bees in that poem, though good old Emily Dickinson made about 100 references in other works to bees. Still, I could imagine lying in the grass, shaded by apple trees with the multitude of bees' wings stirring the petals. I'd hear the bobolink and feel my wings and have that soaring feeling of something greater, something timeless, making my life and baby Tasha's and Emily Dickinson's and all the poets and dreamers all over the world and throughout time connect like beads on a string. This child, I vowed, would know about spirit, not just from the books her great-grandparents believed in, but from a multitude of books and a multitude of people, from walking barefoot in the grass, from orchards where humans and non-humans come close together in the natural world. And from Unitarian Universalism, I didn't know much about UU then, but what I did know intrigued and encouraged me. I had been to exactly 2 UU services. One was a play about a Bible character. The other was given by a professor of apiculture, of beekeeping. Emily Dickinson's orchard took me back to my childhood when my backyard was a quiet place. Rambling around the pasture's edge, I could collect shiny mica and glistening milky quartz, smell new hay and cow manure.
and listen to spring peepers and, yes, the murmuring buzz of honeybees. It became my place for contemplation, a holy place. When he was about 10 years old, my younger brother started keeping the honeybees. Our grandfather kept bees on his farm, and sometimes moved them up and down the dirt road to feast on other nectar. Their feast became ours. We delighted in all sorts of honey drizzled on Granny's cat head biscuits, so called because of their size and shape. No cats were ever harmed in the making of our breakfasts. There was dark amber honey from wildflowers, straw-colored sour wood, and rosy-tinted grape-scented kudzu, rarest of all. Papa taught my brother beekeeping, and before long there were 2 hives in our backyard, and a planting of borage, or starflower, also known as bee bush, and 2 colonies of very busy bees. If you will, think of a time you had this experience. You come face to face with a being you don't know very well, you didn't know before, a person or a creature. Suddenly you both realize you're going to be sharing space. The first few gestures you make are bound to be tentative or clumsy, maybe even dangerous, perhaps all 3 at once. Will you assume the best of each other or the worst? Will you find the unfamiliar creature frightening, untrustworthy, suspect? Well, that was me facing the backyard bees for the first time, a little bit excited, a little bit scared. But I knew that for these gentle creatures, to live by the stinger is to die by it. Once used, the honeybee's stinger embeds in human skin, and the bee cannot survive tearing it free. The bees greeted me enthusiastically. They dive-bombed my hair. It might have had something to do with the earth-born apricot shampoo. After my first surprised scream or 2, though, I realized they were bouncing off harmlessly. Having approached each other with gentleness and curiosity instead of judgment, before long we were friends. The living tradition you use share is fed by diversity of thought and belief and people and life from many sources. I was attracted to this faith that encourages diversity, that lives by cross-pollination. Do we truly understand what a gift pollination is? That pollinators, butterflies, birds, bats, insects, especially bees, especially honeybees, are as vital to ecology as blood and lungs are to the human body? Diversity of pollen is fundamental. Blueberries, apples, watermelon, name your delicious fruit, need pollinators' miracle of untidiness. Grubby with one flower's pollen honeybees don't bother to wipe their feet before entering the next blossom. And that's all I'm going to say about the birds and the bees. The Earthwatch Institute recognizes pollination for the miracle it is. In 2019, it named the bee its most important living species on the planet because 70% of the world's agriculture depends exclusively on bees. Now, do we truly understand what a miracle metaphorical pollination is? that being open to diversity of thought, of belief, of ways of being in the world increases the potential for life-changing, life-saving discoveries exponentially. Try thinking about metaphorical pollination as sharing human experiences. Listen to historian Yuval Noah Harari. In an interview with Adam Grant on the TED podcast, Harari was asked about violence around the world. I'll paraphrase. People are caught up in the stories we tell about the past. 100 years ago, they did this to us, or they did that to us. The stories are basically forcing us to continue their conflicts, their hatreds, their fear. Like our ancestors are passing on to us this big suitcase full of things. And they tell us, now you carry this baggage. And I think what we need to do is open the suitcase and sort it out. Because there's a lot of different stuff in that suitcase. And what would sorting the suitcase out look like? After all, stories can be about grievance and retribution and pain, or they can be about compassion, generosity, and gratitude. Unitarian Universalists are called to sort out our suitcases, our stories, our pollen, side by side with the strangers we've welcomed into our circles. If we unpack our stories and look at them with each other's eyes, imagine the new, peaceful, justice-loving fruit we might produce. Through the ages, diverse faith traditions have praised bees. The Bible has about 100 references to honey and or bees. In the Old Testament, many verses contain the familiar phrase, land flowing with milk and honey, describing the land promised to Israelites fleeing the Pharaoh. In Deuteronomy, honey comes from flinty rock as if it's milk for a nursing baby. The Quran has a surah titled The Bee. It says, "And your Lord inspired the bees. Make your homes in the mountains, the trees, the places people construct, and feed from the flower of any fruit you please, and follow the ways your Lord made easy for you. From the bees' bellies," it goes on, "comes forth liquid of many colors in which there is medicine for people." Stephen Bookman, in Letters from the Hive, says that in ancient Greece, the Orphic school thought a swarm of bees was an allegory for swarms of souls who winging their way toward divine oneness. The ancient Celts thought bees carried messages between worlds. Thus, since ancient times, the honeybee has been ambassador for a sweet, welcoming land, a place of generosity, wisdom, and love. The bee was created as a nurturer, a teacher, a healer. It has even stood in for the human spirit, or its messenger, in relationship to the divine. No wonder that Jewish Rosh Hashanah celebrations start the new year with apple slices dipped in the sweetness of honey. Encoded deep in their DNA, in their little souls, honeybees, as well as flowering plants, know they are part of an interdependent web of relationships. Flowers make themselves beautiful to pollinators. Pollinators give gifts to their human caretakers. Humans till and weed and prune and water. The cycle of garden life turns with the seasons. But I'm concerned that humans often forget the soul knowledge of our interdependence, not only with flowers and fruits and pollinators, but also with other humans. We suffer from a scarcity of gratitude and wonder and collaboration. Our ancestors honored the relationship between the human and non-human worlds with customs like telling the bees. When someone in the family died, beehives would be draped with black cloth, and a designated person would go solemnly from hive to hive, knocking gently and respectfully informing the hive of the loss. Sometimes on a happier occasion, a slice of wedding cake would be left at the hive's entrance. So how's our relationship with bees now? Honeybees are tiny winged immigrants, not natives. They're often feared, marginalized, misunderstood, and mistreated, as are their human migrant counterparts. They're not in danger of extinction now, and bee populations are having a comeback after a concerning nosedive over the past couple of decades. Bees are still being taken out by pesticides and competition for habitat, by a scarcity of flowers. We have so many suburban lawns. Remember what we said about bees and their stingers? Once a bee has become so desperate to defend herself or her hive mates that she has stung a human, she is so completely enmeshed in our life that she must give up her own. But that's really what it means for us to be in this sacred relationship with nature. Our lives are interwoven with the tapestry of all life. If we rip ourselves out of the tapestry, we too are at risk. In the introduction to Letters from the Hive, Stephen Bachman writes, "Bees and flowers are as vital a part of the intricate web of life as we ourselves are. The question we must then ask is, do we love life enough to save it?" Perhaps the solution lies in the recovery of that sense of wonder and amazement we all experienced as children when first discovering the plants and animals that surround us. How do we repair that weaving of relationship? There are many, many ways we can meet bees' generosity with active gratitude. We can dismantle our lawns and plant a little bit of starflower. We can support the preservation of wild places by contributing to Earthwatch Institute or Conserving Carolina or the Sierra Club. We can refrain from using pesticides or use them in a way to minimize harm. I'm grateful to the honeybees because they've been at my side as I discovered the sweetness of honey and the sweetness of Unitarian Universalism. The invigorating challenges of cross-pollination of new ideas, beliefs, and experiences and beings, and the bliss and sacred responsibility of being in relationship. They represent a love so great it could be from Mother Earth, giving nourishment from her rocky breast. A love so great it could be from Creator God, reminding us that in our quest through the wilderness, we are not alone. A love so great it could be from the laws of nature's interdependent web of all existence. August, in The Secret Life of Bees, says it best. Here's Lily again. I put on my helmet as August lifted the lid. The way the bees poured out, rushing up all of a sudden in spirals of chaos and noise, caused me to jump. "Don't move an inch," said August. "Remember what I told you. Don't be scared." A bee flew straight at my forehead, collided with the net, and bumped against my skin. She's giving you a warning, August said. When they bump your forehead, they're saying, I've got my eye on you. You be careful. Send them love, and everything will be fine. I love you. I love you, I said in my head. I love you. That's it. That's the wisdom I've been hearing from the honeybees ever since I was a child. Love. Work together. Be gentle and generous, even with strangers, especially with strangers. Be grateful. Love. May it be so. And now please rise in body or in spirit to sing our closing hymn, number 1064 in the Blue Book, Teal Book, Blue Boat Home. I have two. I have two brief closings today. The first is from George G. Brooks. May the love that gives to life its beauty, the reverence that gives to life its sacredness, and the purposes that give to life its deep significance be strong within each of us and lead us into ever-deepening relationships with all of life. And Emily Dickinson has the very last word. In the name of the bee, and of the butterfly, and of the breeze, amen.